Hello, I'm Mr. Fleming, and we are going to review our customary units of measurement, talking about inches, feet, and yards. Remember, an inch is the smallest unit that we use when we're talking about the customary or standard units. We've practiced looking at a few different things we can use if we don't have a ruler handy. We know a quarter is about an inch long. Small paper clip's about an inch long. Then if you look at the tip of your thumb or your finger, that's about an inch long. Second one is a foot, okay? When we're trying to figure out how long a foot is, if we don't have a ruler, we can look at our arm, be from our elbow to our wrist, or if you think of a Subway foot-long sandwich, that's about 1 foot. This ruler here is 1 foot. Next is a yard, okay? Easiest thing to remember the size of a yard is baseball bat, softball bat, that's about a yard. You stretch out your arm, an adult, probably from their chest to the tips of their fingers, or for some of you guys, it'd be from your wrist to your wrist when your arms are spread out. Another good way is the length of a doorway. And that's if you don't have a yardstick. Which if you have a yardstick right here, that's 1 yard. And so you can remember the relationships of measurement. We need to remember these things. It's important. 12 inches equals 1 foot. So on one ruler, which is 1 foot, we have 12 inches. Next, there are 3 feet in 1 yard. So in this yardstick, this is made up of 3 feet. And then last, there are 36 inches in 1 yard. So on this yardstick, there are 36 inches. And if you look close, you can see the numbers go 1 all the way to 36 on the end. All right, we're going to talk about a few again. Today we are going to practice measuring some things around our homes. We're going to measure some things in the classroom to give you guys some ideas. First thing though, if you have any of these tools at home to measure, awesome. I'm going to show you how to use those, but if you don't worry about it, it's okay. We're also going to show you how to measure without any of the measuring tools. So don't turn the video off, don't freak out. We'll get you through this. All right, so first thing, if you have a ruler at home, this is 1 foot or 12 inches. We can use that. If you have a yardstick, this is 3 feet or 36 inches. Okay, we could use that. My favorite though, if you have one of these, a measuring tape, that's going to be the easiest thing we can use to do our measurements, and that's what I'm going to start off showing you, okay? So, first thing we're going to measure, we are going to see how long our smart TV is. So whenever we're measuring anything, we want to start all the way on one end. You want to keep it as close as you can, and then stop right on the other side. And when I measure this, it looks like it is about 64 inches, okay? So after I measure that, I'm going to look at our sheet here. And you'll be able to pull this up on Canvas. It might be on Seesaw or Shobi, depending on what your teacher uses. On our paper, we see length in inches next to Smart TV. I'm going to write 64 inches. Okay, the next column says length in feet. Okay, so for length in feet, I could use this measuring tape, but I'm going to show you how to measure this using a ruler just in case that's all you have. So we are going to start with this ruler, and remember, a ruler is 1 foot. So same thing, I'm going to start all the way on the edge, but with this, I'm going to use my finger to mark the spot so I don't lose track. So we have 1 foot, 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet, and it's a little over 5 feet, so we are going to round to 5 feet. Let me pull that back up for us. There we go. So, under length in feet, we are going to write 5. The next column says length in yards. Okay, for this one I'm going to show you using the yardstick because that is 1 yard. So just like our other 2 examples, we start all the way to the left. We start on the edge, and then with this one I'm going to use my finger to mark where we start the second time. So we've got 1 yard, and then it looks like this is a little bit bigger than 2 yards. But since it's close, we're going to write 2 yards. There we go. 2 yards. So right here we measured the smart TV in inches, feet, and yards. On the end here it says most appropriate measure. So here we have to decide which thing was the best thing to use to measure it, whether we should measure it in inches, feet, or yards. Usually you want to choose the thing that's the smallest. Okay, instead of having to look at 64 inches or 5 feet, we could say the screen is about 2 yards long. So we would circle the yard.
Okay, well, today I'm going to help Mr. Fleming because he must have went to lunch or something, and he said, hey man, you got the Clorox wipes, which I know is kind of relevant right now. Hopefully you guys have your Clorox wipes at home. But we are going to measure the length of Clorox wipes, okay? But if I didn't have any of this stuff at home, there's a way I can do that. Remember, the top of your finger is about 1 inch. So if I'm like, how do I measure this without my ruler? I know I've got my little handy 1 inch connected to my body. So I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right about 8 inches, okay? If I had to measure the length of this in feet, I'm thinking a couple different things. I know that 1 foot is 12 inches, okay? So 8 inches is kind of close to 12, but it's still going to be a little bit less. I also know that I got my handy elbow to wrist. That's about 1 foot, okay? So I can put that right there and say that's just about right, because remember, a lot of these are going to be estimates, okay? So I could say that's about 1 foot. Now, look at this thing. There's no way you would be able to compare this to a baseball bat, okay? If I look at my yardstick, okay, that's nowhere near a yard, so we're not even going to worry about that. All right, now if you did want to use a ruler to measure this, you could take my trusty ruler, and remember, I want it to be on the inches side, and if I slap it like this, it's not going to give me an accurate measurement. I got to make sure that the bottom of the ruler, where it starts with inches, is where I start. So I'm going to put that right at the bottom. And wow, Mr. Kaywood, you are really good at using your finger to measure stuff, because that is almost exactly 8 inches tall. And the nearest foot is 1 foot, okay? If it was below 6 inches, you'd probably say it's closer to 0 foot, but it's close enough to say it's about 1 foot. And if it's something that's way smaller than that yard, you guys can just go ahead and put an X through that, okay? Just like I threw my yardstick away, because I'm not going to use that for this Clorox wipe. Okay, so the most appropriate measure, in my opinion, is inches, because I wasn't really that close to a feet, and I got my inches exactly. All right. So let's talk about family members. You might want to measure your little brother, your little sister, mom or dad. If they're at work and they get home, you can use your yardsticks, you can use your rulers, or you might be able to use the things that you have on your body, like foot. So if you need to get down on your hands and knees and go 1, 2, 3 feet to measure your little brother that's in kindergarten, or if you want to use a yardstick and put a couple of them one on top of another and say dad's about 2 yards tall, that's up to you. Use all the resources you have. Okay, so if you have this stuff, great. If not, you know what inch, okay, a foot, and a yard. All right, use those resources you have at home. So with this, you will find it on Shovie, you will find it on Seesaw, or you might find it on Canvas. It depends on what your teacher uses. So that's Mr. Kaywood, and that's my part of the lesson.